Hi, very good morning all. This is Nagini Gopal Krishna. I am completed my MSc in Kakadiya University, Warangal, and I worked as a biology lead faculty at Narayana PU College, Vijayanagara, Bank. So now today we will discuss something which is very interesting and from the chapter of NCERT syllabus, Unit 5. Unit 5, Chapter 18. Chapter 18, the human circulatory system. Whenever we say the circulatory system means, we will remember of the heart, because heart is the main important thing. And when you say human circulatory system, it consists mainly three parts. One is heart, and second one is blood, third one is blood vessels. So these three plays major role in the human circulatory system. So today we will discuss about heart first. Okay, whenever we see the heart, the location of the heart is mediastinum, the cavity mediastinum. Mediastinum is a cavity which is present between the two lungs, a thoracic cavity. In the thoracic cavity, heart is presented slightly towards the left side. So that is the location of the heart. So now coming to the shape. The shape of the heart is slightly triangular. See, slightly triangular. That means it is slightly triangular. Okay. And now size. Size wise, if we talk of the heart size is varies. Varies means in males the size is 280 grams to 320 grams. In females, 230 grams to 280 grams. Slightly less in females size. Okay. And now the shape. Shape of the heart is the fist. If you make a tight fist, that is the size of your heart. Okay. Now we have seen the complete location and the shape and size of the heart. Now let's move to the outside surface of the heart. It looks like we cannot see all these four chambers and all these blood vessels. Nothing. We can see only two depressions. And let me draw here. If this is a heart, we can see only depressions. One depression here, another depression here. A depression means nothing but a part which is compressed. The part which is compressed, the upper part and the lower part depression is known as AV sulcus. AV means auricles, V means ventricles, auriculoventricular sulcus or coronary sulcus. This is coronary sulcus. And here one more depression is there, which separates only the lower parts. That means the ventricles. So as it named as interventricular sulcus. I told you before, sulcus word stands for the depression. So we can see only outside these things. So this is, we cannot see the four chambers from the outside. So now when we say human beings are bilaterally symmetrical, that means if you cut from the main axis, the two equal half parts would be formed. That is the true and that is the bilateral symmetry. But in case of the heart, we cannot get the two equal parts because heart is slightly moved towards the left side. That is the reason. Okay. And then let's move on to the internal structure. So before we talk about internal structure, let us have a discuss on the wall of the heart. So let's take the wall of the heart, because wall of the heart plays key role. Okay, right. So this is the wall of the heart. So wall of the heart is mainly made up of three layers. One is, will come from the inside. endocardium and myocardium and the outer epicardium. So all these layers are called as epicardium. So let's discuss from inside to out so we can easily understand. Now the inner wall of the heart is endocardium, which is made up of, which is the thinnest layer. It is made up of simple squamous epithelium. So this is the thinnest layer. So now coming to the middle layer, the myocardium. Myocardium is the thickest layer of the heart because it consists cardiac muscles, which plays key role in rhythmic contractions. When the heart is in the rhythmic contraction, it is made up of by the cardiac muscles, which is present in the myocardium. So now let's come to the outer layer or epicardium. Epicardium is again made up of two main layers. They are serous pericardium and the second one is fibrous pericardium. See, and the serous pericardium again divided into two main layers. They are visceral pericardium, parietal pericardium. See, very clear. Endocardium is inside wall, myocardium is the middle layer, and epicardium means fibrous. This is the fibrous. This one is fibrous. It is not divided into any other layers, further layers. When coming to serous, it is divided into two layers. One is visceral and parietal. The visceral layer, which is near to the myocardium, is called visceral layer. Visceral. And which is near to the fibrous pericardium is parietal. Clear? And between these visceral and parietal layer, there is a fluid present. And the fluid is called pericardial fluid. Pericardial fluid. See, the location of the pericardial fluid is between the visceral pericardium and parietal pericardium. This is the most important bit. Multiple choice. Okay, now what is the role of this pericardial fluid? It plays a key role, two major key roles. One is it makes a lubricant. It acts as a lubricant. It makes a lubricant when the heart is in the rhythmic contractions, and it protects from the outside pressure or mechanical shocks. From the mechanical shocks, it protects the heart from the mechanical shock. If the shock is very severe, we can't do nothing. If the shock is something less, it can handle this. So this is the wall of the heart. And now, with this wall of the heart, we have completed the external structure and wall of the heart. Now move on to the internal structure of the heart. When we say the heart is made up of four chambers, the upper two chambers are called auricles, which are thinnest walls, and the lower two compartments are called ventricles, which have thickest walls. Okay? And these auricles are receiving compartments. Keep this in mind. Auricles are receiving compartments, ventricles are pumping compartments. Auricles receive the blood from the different parts of the body, and the ventricles pump the blood to the separate different parts of the body. So just make this line between the left and right. When you say the right side, deoxygenated blood, and left side, oxygenated blood. Now move on to the muscular nature of these four chambers. When we say right atria or auricles have thinnest walls because the reason is they can only receive the blood. Their function is to receive the blood and send the blood to the next walls called ventricles. That is their only function. That's why their walls are thinnest walls. But when we say right ventricle, it has thickest wall compared to the auricles because it must pump the blood to the two lungs for the purification. As I told you before, right side is deoxygenated blood. It needs to be oxygenated at the lungs. That's why it must be something more muscular than the auricles. And now coming to the left ventricle, it must be very muscular when compared to all the four compartments because it should pump the blood to the each and every part of the body. That means from head to the toes. From each and every part of the body, left ventricle should pump the blood. That's why it has more thickest nature. So let's draw the thickness like left ventricle has more thickest nature than right ventricle. Right ventricle has more thickest nature than auricles. Right? So this comparison is very useful. That's enough. And now move on to the individual chambers. Discuss about individual chambers of the heart. First thing we will take the right atrium. When I say right atrium, which is a receiving chamber, it receives the deoxygenated blood from the all body parts with mainly two veins, two major veins, and they are precaval vein from the upside part, precaval vein or superior vena cava. It has another name, superior vena cava, and the postcaval vein from the all the lower parts of the body. This is also called an inferior vena cava. Nice. And one more blood vessel which brings the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium is coronary sinus. This is one of the most important blood vessels. Coronary, it brings the blood of the wall of the heart. When I say wall of the heart also it uses the oxygen and releases the carbon dioxide. When the blood is with the carbon dioxide, it is called as deoxygenated blood, and that blood is also brought by the coronary cells. Right? When we say the precaval vein and postcaval vein and coronary cells, these three are the main blood vessels which brings the deoxygenated blood to the right atrium. But when the postcaval vein bringing the blood from the downwards parts to the heart, that means it must be pull the blood against the gravity. Gravity is like, as we know, gravity attracts from the downwards to the upwards to the downwards. But here, blood should come from the downwards to the upwards against the gravity. To reduce that, postcaval vein has a valve. The valve is nothing but which is control the stops the flow. So here, postcaval vein has a valve. The valve which prevents the backward flow. It prevents the backward flow. There is no backward flow because of the presentation of valve. The valve which is here is called as Eustachian valve. Eustachian valve, which is the present at the opening of the postcaval vein. And here, coronary sinus has also one another valve, which is called Debatius valve. Debatius valve. So, which prevents the backward flow. So, these valves are useful for the prevention of backward flow. Then, what about the precaval vein? Precaval vein has also one opening at the right atrium. Then, what about it? It doesn't have any valves because opening of the precaval vein is like slightly with an angle. This angle, if this is a precaval vein, it opens like angle. So it does not need to having a wall. And one more thing, the blood from the precaval vein brings the blood from the upward parts. So upward to the downwards. It is positive to the gravity. So there is no need to the flow backward flow of the blood. So that's why it doesn't have any walls. But here, one more wall which prevents the right atrium to the right ventricle. Right atrium to the right atrium, right ventricle. That is right. This is right side. Right auriculoventricular wall. As its location tells, right auriculoventricular wall, which prevents the flow from the right auricle to the right ventricle. Okay. It has three cusps. If you make a dissection of that flap, if you make this flap dissection, three cusps. That's why it is also called as tricuspid wall. Tricuspid wall. So this is the overview of the right atrium. Now move on to the right ventricle. So right left auricle. Left auricle receives left side oxygenated blood from the lungs, pulmonary veins. Whenever I say pulmonary, the word belongs to the lungs. That's it. The pulmonary veins, the oxygenated blood has arrived into the left ventricle, left auricle. So here, before the birth in embryonic stage, two auricles have opened, the blood getting mixed at the time of embryonic stage. After the birth, this opening gets closes after the birth. But there is a remaining mark. That mark is known as fossa ovalis. Fossa ovalis. The mark is known as fossa ovalis. And that hole is known as foramen ovale. Hole. If there is hole, that is called foramen ovale. Foramen ovale. Many times we hear that people saying the baby has hole in the heart. Many times we hear this word. That is not a separate hole. Whenever this foramen ovale fails to close, the opening remains same. So doctors need to do some surgery to close that. But the hole in the heart is nothing but the foramen ovale. Okay. Now continue our topic. Pulmonary veins brings the oxygenated blood. Two pulmonary veins from each lung. So four pulmonary veins. Here is one more thing, but it is to the back side. Okay. These two pulmonary veins from one lung, and these two pulmonary veins from the another lung. They brought oxygenated blood. Pulmonary veins does not have any valves because the reason is same. Pulmonary veins open, see here, open like in angle. There is no need to backward flow of the blood. So that is it. But here, opening of the pulmonary vein from the opening of the left auricle from the right auricle is guarded by one more flap. Here is a flap, right auricular wall. But here it is called as left, we call it the left side, auriculoventricular wall. So left auriculoventricular wall. But it has, when you take its section, only two cusps. That's why it is known as bicuspid wall and also mitral wall. Bicuspid wall and also mitral wall. So this is the overview of two auricles. Now coming to the two ventricles. Ventricles has more muscular nature because they should pump blood from the left ventricle should pump the blood to the all body parts. But Because of this muscular nature, when they contract, the blood may be flow out of these flaps, these right atrioventricular wall, tricuspid wall, and bicuspid wall. They may be get open. They may get open because of this high flow of the muscular nature. To prevent that, here another part present that is known as papillary muscles and columnar cornea. These larger things are called papillary muscles. Smaller ridges, they are known as ridges. Small ridges are called columnar cornea. These papillary muscles have cordia tendineae which attach it to the walls, to the both ventricles. So here the columnar cornea and cordia tendineae, which are the very strongest fibrous nature, they make these walls very strong when the ventricles contract. Okay, so these are the columnar cornea which prevents the backward flow of the blood from the ventricles to the auricles. And now the blood has arrived from the auricles to the ventricles. The right side blood is brought by the precaval vein, and from precaval vein, postcaval vein, and coronal sinus. From this auricle, the blood enters into the right ventricle, and here through the pulmonary veins, from the left auricle, the blood has been arrived to the left ventricle. Now, where should the blood go? The blood must go from the right side, as I told you before. Deoxygenated blood should get oxygenated. That means there is a artery which is called pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery takes the blood, deoxygenated blood, to the lungs. This is one branch, this is another branch. These two branches belongs to the pulmonary artery, which takes the blood to the two lungs. Lungs. Why we mention lungs here? Whenever we breathe, oxygen goes, oxygen goes inside, carbon dioxide comes outside. That means oxygenated blood. So blood gets oxygenated. This oxygenated blood has been taken from the pulmonary veins. You got it now? That oxygenated blood from the lungs has been taken through the pulmonary veins to the left auricle. So this is the process of the purification. And now this purified blood has been entered into the left auricle. From the left auricle it enters into the left ventricle. And from the left ventricle, where should it go? It should go through the aorta. Aorta or systemic arch. It has another name, systemic arch. Systemic arch. It takes the blood to the all parts of the body, each and every part of the body. It takes the oxygenated blood. See, I have already written here. The oxygenated blood has been taken to the each and every part of the body through the aorta. So now we will discuss it again. That means heart has four chambers. The upper two chambers are called auricles and the lower two chambers are called ventricles. Upper chambers are less muscular or thinnest parts. The lower parts are more muscular or thickest parts. So the right auricle receives the deoxygenated blood from upper part of the body through the precaval vein, lower part of the body through the postcaval vein, and from the heart, coronary sinus. The blood has been arrived, deoxygenated blood. The blood, and this blood has entered into the ventricle, right ventricle, through the right auricular ventricular wall. Through the wall only the blood enters. So enter. This is stop. This is enough for this right side. Coming to the left side. The blood, the oxygenated blood has been entered into the left auricle. From the left auricle through the Wall, which wall? Right, left auricular ventricular wall or bicuspid wall or mitral wall. These three names is for only this wall, one wall, ventricle. And now the blood is in the ventricles. From the right ventricle, blood has been taken out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. That purified blood has been arrived through the pulmonary veins to the left auricle. From here, through the left ventricle, the blood has been pumped out to the each and every part of the body. This is the overview of the blood circulation. Now, a small topic we have, that is double circulation. Let me write here. Double circulation. What double circulation means, I'll make you to understand very simply. That is, there is no need to write somewhere on the board even also. The blood has been arrived to the right ventricle. The deoxygenated blood has been arrived. From here, the blood has been taken out through the pulmonary artery to the lungs. Please make sure this is deoxygenated and this is oxygenated through the lungs. This is a cycle. Cycle means circuit. Pulmonary artery has a main role here to take the deoxygenated blood for the purification to the lungs. So this is known as pulmonary circuit. Pulmonary circuit or pulmonary vein, whatever it is, we can call it. And here, after the purification of blood in the lungs, the oxygenated blood has been taken through the pulmonary veins to the left atrium, from the left atrium, it has been entered to left ventricle. From the left ventricle, it has been pumped out to the each and every part of the body. We have a small topic here. Opening of the pulmonary artery has a wall, which is a tricuspid wall, semi-lunar wall. It has been named semi-lunar wall. Wall means it prevents the typhoid flow. And opening of the aorta has also one another wall. It is also called as semi-lunar wall. It is also tricuspid wall. So, this is the subcircle. Blood enters into the left auricle. From the left auricle, left ventricle, the blood has been pumped out to the each and every part of the body. Here, there is no mixing of blood takes place. The oxygenated blood has a separate circuit, right side. Oxygenated blood has a separate circuit, left side. These two types of bloods get never mixed. That is why it is called as complete double circulation. One circulation is through the pulmonary artery, another circulation is through the systemic aorta. These two, this is also called as systemic circulation. This is also called as pulmonary circulation. These two, systemic circulation and pulmonary circulations, are separately done in the heart. That is why it is known as complete double circulation. Complete double circulation. So this is the overview of the heart. The complete double circulation. This is very important chapter for the NEET and KCET and for your board exams also. So this is the overview of human circulatory system. Yes, thank you.